Good morning and welcome back to our science class. In today's video, we are going to learn about fertilization. Now, fertilization is a process that takes place after pollination. So today, before we begin with the process of fertilization, we are going to have a quick recap of pollination, that how pollination is taking place. As you can see in the slide, it is the insects which are helping in transferring the pollen grains from flower to flower to the stigma. Once the pollen grains fall on the stigma, they start germinating. And how do they germinate? That is what we are going to learn today. So here we know that why pollination is important. It is because of pollination that plants are reproducing and life continues on this earth. It is 80% of our world's crop plant species which grow because of pollination. So pollination is very important for us, for human beings. Now let us quickly recap the structure of a flower. You know, a flower is the reproductive part of the flower, and it is the part of the plant that is taking part in sexual reproduction. That is, the male and the female gametes or the female or the male sex cells are going to be involved. So you can see that the flower has the male part and the female part. The male part is the stamen and the female is the pistil. Now these parts are going to produce the sex cell that will participate in the process of reproduction. Now you can see the stamen. The stamen has an anther, the yellow color lobe. This anther has pollen grains. These pollen grains are called the male sex cell or the male gametes. Then you can see the green structure, that is the pistil. This pistil has ovary and the ovary has egg cell inside it, that is inside the ovules. Okay, now you can see here the three structures. These are the future of the pollen grain. The first stage, the pollen grain lands on the stigma. The moment it lands on the stigma, you can see the yellow color small tube. Yes, that is called the pollen tube, which begins to develop and it will move in the style. And once it will grow, it will move down. Now see where it is moving. You can see here in the slide. Can you see the red color tube? Yes, that is the pollen tube. See, that pollen tube is growing and moving inside the ovary. And what is this pollen tube having in it? It has the male sex cell or the male gamete. So here the male gamete is going to fuse with the female gamete, with the egg cell, right? So now what will happen? Fusion has taken place of fertilization. Now see what is happening. The male combines with the female gamete and forms a new cell called zygote. And zygote will further develop and change into an embryo. And you know that it is the embryo or the baby plant that changes into a new plant once it gets all the favorable conditions. Now let us quickly recapitulate what is fertilization. So fertilization is the fusion of the male gamete with the female gamete, resulting in the formation of a new cell called zygote. It is this zygote that develops into an embryo, and this embryo further develops into a new plant. So I hope you have understood the process of fertilization. Yes? Now we are going to discuss after that what are the after effects of fertilization. But before that, let us quickly have a look at the pictorial representation of fertilization. You can see the pollen grain gets germinated. Once it gets germinated, then it develops into a zygote, and the zygote changes into an embryo. The embryo has a thick wall, that protective wall, that is called the seed coat or the integument, which breaks once it gets the favorable conditions to grow. Now let us see what happens to a flower once fertilization is done. You can see the petals, sepals and stamens, they fall off. The ovary, the ovary becomes bigger in size and it changes into the fruit. And what is inside the ovary? We have ovules. These ovules will change into embryo, into the seeds. Yes? So, this is how the various changes takes place in a flower after the process of fertilization. So now you have understood how a fruit develops after fertilization. Then the fruits are of two types. Fleshy fruits, the fruits which are fleshy and thick. Then we have the dry fruits. The dry fruits are thin and dry. That is, the fruit wall is thin and dry. Yes, you can see the fleshy fruits. After that, you will be watching the dry fruits. So, dry fruits have the fruit wall which is thin and dry, and fleshy fruits are fleshy and their wall is thick. You can easily make out the oranges that you eat, isn't it? Then you must have seen the sunflower seeds, the bean fruits, all these. Now, once the seed is produced, you should know what are the parts of a seed and how the process of germination takes place. Alright, it is the seed that contains the embryo, and this embryo under favorable conditions grows into a new plant, or I can say the process of sexual reproduction is taking place. Now the fruit that you eat. Now let's discuss some facts about the fruit that you eat. For example, a mango. The skin of the mango in terms of science is called as exocarp, outermost layer. Then the fleshy part that you eat is called as mesocarp. And then you have the seed in it, and the seed has a thick covering that is called as endocarp. Now, after this, you should know how these seeds germinate. For germination, for getting favorable conditions, these seeds need to scatter. They need to move away from the mother plant. That is called as seed dispersal. And how seed dispersal takes place? It is through the various agents. The various agents are air, water, then some seeds have spines, some have hooks, isn't it? So different agents helps seed to disperse to favorable places where they can get all the favorable conditions for growth. I hope you have understood. Do read the chapter in order to make it more easy and understandable. Thank you. See you in the next video. Goodbye.